There's no need to adjust your computer monitor. You're not seeing doubles. I have another special guest to ring in the new year and the first Indiana Jones cosplay video of 2024. Hello, Facebook and YouTube. It is I, Nathan, back again in this glorious new year with my very good friend Trent Ryan. And we are up here in the mountains of Southern California, specifically the Mount Baldy region, because we wanted to get some good cosplay shots, and I knew that this area, which I've been to a lot actually, was just perfect for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and the funniest part about it is it felt like I did not leave Colorado because this looks just like Colorado.
Yeah.
Very trippy.
So, something else that makes this video special, aside from the fact that we have Trent here, is the gear that Trent is wearing, because for the last year, my good man, we haven't seen you rock the Raiders gear.
No, it's been few and far between, if at all. Also, this does not match, so I'll keep that
It's
there.
the only Destiny gear you brought.
Yeah, but respectfully, it's a great bag. Yeah, so I wanted to get back to my personal cosplay roots, which is none other than Raiders, and I'm assuming we're doing a gear breakdown.
Absolutely we are.
So,
It's not every day that I've got you here in California
we're not wrong.
in full Raiders gear.
No.
So I think to properly ring in 2024, especially if it's an indie cosplay video, we got to do a gear breakdown, because I have new pieces of gear that I haven't shared yet. So you go first, good sir.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with gloves because my fingers are cold. It's pretty chilly for California. These are from Brian Long, Jonesing for Props. They're a nice gritty, grainy cowhide, and with the infamous large stamp that he has been putting out. I like the weathering. A lot of it was done by me with shoe polish, and what else did I put on these ones? Infamously, Picards. That's what I put on almost every piece of leather gear, especially gloves. But one thing that people don't typically do is wood stain for the knuckles, and that's what these ones have. They do fade a little bit, so if you happen to do it, use a newer one. My bottle was pretty old, but
Why specifically wood polish for the knuckles?
frankly, you work with what you have, and I was bored at work one day, and there it was. Of course, with truck chase and flying wing fight, you gotta have those dirty knuckles for the sake of looking like you've been in some fist fights. But like I said, I was just working with what I had, and I felt it matched the aesthetic that I was going for, and I have no complaints aside from the fading.
Honestly works for me.
Yeah. But now from top to bottom, Garrison Hatters, I have something to tell you guys. If you're watching this in 24, David has just landed some new felts, rabbit felts, in a custom color. So get them while they're hot. They'll look just like this, but kind of closer to what Nathan is wearing in terms of the color. So support your local hatter. You can't go wrong with the Garrison. I've been wearing this one on my head for a couple of years now. In fact, I received it, I think, the week prior to me coming out here for the 2021 event.
Dang.
So it's already seen some good days and some good mileage. And if anything ever happened to this particular lid, I'd be very sad. I love it a lot. It's faded. It's very faded, but I love it. Now we're pairing that with a Steel & Jones French lambskin with all the glorious drool-worthy striations that we know and love. This was provided by Pete Cassioppo, or as you call Capucho.
Pete Capucho.
Pete Capucho. So thank you again, Pete, if you're watching. This is the best hands-down Raiders I've ever had. In, well, for me, it accommodates my preferences. Yeah. Striations, comfort of wear. I'm a sucker for polyester as well. The hardware it's just good. It's very good. And if it's, I also happen to wet mold it when it came, just to tense up some of the skin, and I love it. So
And it
much.
wonderfully hangs like a Raiders jacket really should.
Yeah. As Morgan would point out, the shoulder hang is what he thinks is the best feature of this on my stature.
Right.
Because with the Raiders cut, it's gotta look loose. It's gotta have that ill fit. And there's that. On to the shirt. This is an Azuma. I don't know the year that it was made, but Azumas are probably the best. But nevertheless, one of the best shirt fenders you can go with.
Yeah.
And just most importantly, it's accurate, so I like it. Strap is from Penitent Man Leather. I've had this one for years too. Just a nice, dense cowl with unique weathering on it. And I did some modifying to, well, nothing you could really see, but I did some modifications as we talked about previously with the hardware to loop it on the back. Instead of using the Chicago screw,
Which is what I have on my bag strap.
yeah, so rather than that, you take, I believe it's just a stud from a rifle sling. It's a single piece. You don't need any tools whatsoever. You pop it through the holes, much like you would a holster, in fact. And the no tools required aspect is, I love it.
Yeah, and seeing it in person, it just looks a little bit cleaner, and you don't need to worry about losing one half of the Chicago screw like you do with the standards. So
Yeah,
honestly, it's a smarter deal.
yeah,
And that's a detail that originally you would only see on a Destiny strap.
I think so. Something to that extent. But I transferred it over to the Raider strap because convenience, simply convenience. We also have the Mark 7 WG bag. So, just to brief, it's original. And
And it's got the correct longer side loop for Raiders.
for Raiders, yes, it does. On to, we'll do the holster. So, I'm going to start laughing because this was mine, but you've actually gotten a lot of holsters from me.
I have. It's kind of ridiculous. That holster's from you. This holster's from you. The one that he's wearing is his original, very vintage Todd's Costumes Raiders holster. I made a video on this. Oh, I have it. I made a video on this last year when it came to just a complete updated rundown of all of my gear. It's a wonderful, wonderful holster. It's very stout leather, very thick, and
Very, very thick, but very supple.
what I appreciate most about it is that the weathering you will see on it, because we'll get some close-ups later, the weathering that you see on the holster, Trent did not add. That is not artificial weathering. It's just how this thing has naturally aged.
You're not wrong. And what was trippy to me, upon further speculation, the weathering matched the well of souls. I zoomed in on the shot with him holding his whip, and every little scratch, every little bit was the same.
Dang.
It was great. On to the gun rig. This is very tough and tank built. Make it Jones. I got this from Andrew, and I wish it was a little longer, but you can't go wrong with a secondhand sale at a good price. I still wear it. It's the most accurate belt I've ever had because, now we'll get to the whip holder, it has the permanently riveted mock-up, and as we were discussing yesterday as well, the security stud is very hardy, and once you get that in there, I was actually having a hell of a time earlier getting this off to put my whip on. That's how stout and durably built it is.
So for those of you who kind of watch my videos to get information about different pieces of Indiana Jones gear, so with me you always see that I have my whip holder, which is a replica Crease and Corral double wrap whip holder from this guy. He actually made it. This is just a nice little piece of gear that can come on and off my belt whenever I wish. But with the Raiders belt, and it's the only one we've ever seen like it in the series, it is permanently riveted to the gun belt.
Correct.
You don't see that with Temple, you don't see it with Crusade or Crystal Skull. For some reason, just with Raiders, it's that one interesting little oddity about it.
Yep. And with this exact length, it happens to hold my whip nicely. And as we were hiking to get down here to set up for this video. It didn't come on.
Nope.
You seen it?
Yep, I seen it.
He seen it.
I seen it.
It's an inside joke. Speaking of the whip. Del Carpio. Okay, now the pants. No. So this, much to what I adore about my Garrison, you know how I said if anything ever happened to it, I'd be so upset. With the whip, same thing applies.
If
This-
not more so about this particular piece.
Well, regarding the investment at hand,
Yeah.
absolutely. But this was a gift from my mom, dad, and fiance. They funded the ability for me to commission this from Bernardo. Now 2 Christmases ago. So Christmas of 21, I found out, hey, go get your whip. Christmas of 22, it came. And here we are, 1 year later, and this has been the best damn whip I have ever had. I will die on that hill.
I have had the ability to crack it several times. It's loose, but the control is just unbelievably smooth.
Yes, it's no other whip I've had or will own. It's like this.
I
Also,
thought your Townsend, yeah, look at that.
stay out of the way.
I thought your Townsend was a
The Townsend was actually
beautiful
pretty
Raiders
close.
whip,
Yes.
but this one, the ability to crack and just the way that it flows is a
Yeah.
very complimentary piece, especially to your whip cracking skills.
Well, thank you. Yes, it's. I was actually going to see if I can demonstrate, but there's just way
There's
too much
foliage.
pants. Wested. Best trousers on market. For me, I kind of wish, I was thinking about this recently, I wish they would modify the color or at least have more offerings with color, because if they can make something closer to yours with that nice
Gray,
tawny gray, that yeah, a traditional officer pink type, because we would all agree this is more Temple, Crusade, especially Crystal Skull.
yes.
Forward
I'm
finger at
sorry.
me, mister. But back to the trousers. If they can get a color, again, close to gray of any kind, then that would be perfect. But I like the looseness. I like the material especially. And they're just comfortable.
They are.
That's probably the most important thing about trousers or clothing in general, is just comfort. And these take the cake on that. Web belt was from Morgan. I think you got it from Amazon. You can get a web belt anywhere. There's nothing special about them. I'm not surprised when people do gear breakdowns and they just pass on it.
Yeah, but something that we've talked about before in the terms of the web belts is that you should invest, because of how cheap they are, you should invest in an antique belt buckle,
Yes.
because it makes
especially.
it really makes the look all that more authentic.
Yes. I'm getting so tangled here. Oh my gosh. But-
Tangled up knots.
Yes, the beauty of those antique buckles is they cost hardly anything. You can go on eBay right now. I almost guarantee you can get one for less than $10. Do it.
Do it.
And boots, if you can see, are my Alden 403s. I recently sold my 405s, but these are equally as good boots. Now, funny I mentioned that because you
We'll
have
get
a
to
pair.
that.
Yes,
We will get to that.
we'll get to that. Okay, so that's pretty much everything on me. I'll do another 360 for all the viewers.
And for anyone curious, please show off the single piece of Destiny gear you have, because it is pretty
Sure.
fantastic.
Yeah. Good old Frost River American made. This
Yeah.
one is the, what do they refer to it as?
The archaeologist pack.
Yes. And that simply means it doesn't come with the patch, because a lot of people will buy them and take them off, but it leaves that oval.
Yeah.
So with this particular model, it doesn't have that. It looks like it came straight out of filming for Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those who don't know, that is the same make, model, brand bag that Indy carries when he and Helena have gone to search for the dial after reading the Graphicos.
Yes, and you can see him running through the town after Teddy is kidnapped. Same day.
Yep.
So this is all about Raiders.
Yeah.
I will leave it to you, good sir.
So, the last time I did a Raiders gear breakdown, the big changes I had were my jacket, that holster, and the Smith & Resin, which is currently in this one. I'm going to work from the ground up because
Yes.
So that thing we were going to talk about later does have to do with my boots. So I am currently rocking my wonderful Wested leather Alden replicas. I've had these boots for almost 2 years now,
I think so.
and they have become some of the most comfortable everyday boot I've worn. The only complaint I have about Wested's boot leather is that it's so stiff out of the box
It is.
that it can be very uncomfortable to wear for a short while. But if you just wear it day in, day out, especially with big, thick socks like I usually have, they'll break in really easily, and then you'll find that they are as comfortable as moccasin slippers. But what I'm excited about, and hopefully by the time we get back to my place, I should have a new vintage pair of Alden 405s in a beautiful, beautiful like pumpkin color.
Just a nice light. Oh gosh, I can't even explain it. They're hardly worn, brand new, vintage Alden. Stay tuned. Stay
Yeah.
tuned.
We're gonna do another video on that. But my pants, since we were talking about pants, his are Wested. Mine actually come from a website called Soldier of Fortune, and they are specifically a militaria replica site for military reenactors. And this is their Second World War officers' pink trousers. And I got these because these are very close to Raiders in color, and I just needed an actual legitimate close enough pair.
Yeah.
Because the actual pants that Indy wears, specifically in Raiders, they're slightly modified officers' pinks. In Temple of Doom, for the rest of the series, they are the same material, but they're a slightly darker color like this. And then there are more modifications, like they changed up the flaps on the back pockets. This has a zipper fly, as to where
Oh, cool.
Wested's and Indy trousers in general have button flies.
Yeah.
And you have a little.
Oh, I have a bug. Yeah.
I wonder where he came from. Well, he's gone now.
No fortune cookie.
So I really love these trousers. They're really baggy. I actually had to get the hems redone because of how long they were before.
Yeah.
But now they're super comfortable. I love the way these fit. The pockets themselves are probably some of my favorite because it's a very soft, like woolen material in here. And they just look great, especially with Raiders gear. They really match what we see on screen, and I can't really say much else than that. My whip is still my Joe Strain. I don't have a fancy new whip to show off.
Oh, hey, look,
I
yes,
don't.
you do.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh! But it's my Joe Strain. It's my Old Faithful. It's an incredible 8-foot bullwhip made in 1995, same year I was born. And it's just a really nice catalog whip that Joe used to make for Western stage props. I went really in depth on this, and I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to see my full rundown of why I love this whip so much. Whip holder, whip keeper, as I said, created by this guy, replicated off a Crease and Corral double wrap whip holder, which is just a wonderful piece of kit. Crease and Corral makes some of the best whips and some of the best whip holders.
Well, unfortunately, not for some time, but he
Yeah.
once did.
He once did.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for correcting me in the past tense. But the weapons belt that I'm using is just an Amazon find. It's a good close enough. It's not as dark as a Raiders belt should be. But I think if I got some brown card after it, that would fix things. My web belt is a genuine military web belt. It's not as dark, but this color is correct for Dial of Destiny.
It sure is.
And I have a vintage Second World War brass belt buckle on it. My holster is an eBay find holster that this guy found. It was one of, what was it, 4?
There were about 4 or 5 of them, very randomly, and I tried to get him into the groups in the forums. He wanted nothing to do with them.
He appeared, sold these really nice holsters, and then vanished
He did.
without a trace. But this is a really nice hybrid holster of Raiders and Last Crusade. I've been able to fit both my Smith & Resin model 1917, also given to me by this guy. This fits in here very snugly, very comfortably, and so does a Webley Mark 6. So that's why there was a short while I was using this as my last Crusade holster. And then I got the one from Fedora Leather, and the rest was history. And now, oh dang, I'm gonna have to do an insert shot. This guy sold me an original 1918 Webley holster that is just minty. Just, it's not mint condition, but it's
pretty old, but it looks nice.
Oh, so I can't wait to do an insert shot of that. Shirt is just your standard What Price Glory. It's a wonderful shirt, wonderful maker, nice thick cotton. The buttons are, it's one of my only complaints about What Price Glory. Azuma has really nice close enough buttons. What Price Glory, just like, they're too pale, so they contrast with the shirt.
Only a bit.
But only a bit.
Yeah.
Strap is What Price Glory. This was given to me by Morgan Loff, who is not here. He's on tour with Bluey.
Yeah.
Bluey's big show. But this is a wonderful stout leather. What I like so much is how easily it crinkles.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite things about the leather that What Price uses for their indie straps is it's just nice, soft, crinkly leather.
Yeah, really awesome patina.
My bag is an original Mark 7. It is not a WG though. It has no markings. Well, that's awkward.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this one has no markings, but it has the longer side loop, like a Raiders bag should. And overall, I bought this from What Price Glory actually, because you can buy new old stock of the Mark 7s. They sell just other companies' versions of the bag. They also sell WGs, but those, as far as I can recall, are sold out.
Wow.
And they got sold out before the premiere for Dial of Destiny. So they've been out for a while.
Yeah.
But it's just a wonderful bag, one of my favorite satchels. Just nice deep pockets. Don't mind the burnout, yeah. My jacket is one I've been excited to talk about. This was actually a gift from a mutual friend of ours, Michael Indy Johns. He has been losing a lot of weight recently, taking better care of himself, getting very healthy, and so a lot of the stuff that used to fit him doesn't anymore. And when we were at the last California Jones meeting, he was wearing this, and I said, "That's a really nice Wested." He goes, "Yeah, thanks. What size jacket are you?" And I said, "Oh, well, I mean, I fit between a 50 and a 52 currently." And he goes, "Okay," just takes it off. He says, try this on." So I try it on, and of course, everyone's eyes go aglow, like, "Whoa, that's such a good-looking jacket on you." And I'm like, "Wow, yeah, no, this fits really nicely. This is a nice jacket, Mike. This is really good." He goes, "Great. It's yours now. Keep it." So I got a free Wested jacket. It's a really wonderful goat skin. It's very grainy.
Super textury.
And when it comes to Westeds, you don't see a lot of textured jackets. It's just kind of how they're built.
Yeah.
But this is just a really nice, stout goat. It's very dark, almost looks black, but in a lot of other lighting situations, you can tell it's just a nice, deep, chocolatey brown.
Like a charcoal brown, as I call it.
Yeah.
I almost said gray, but that's not true. Charcoal brown.
It has nice, big pockets, like a Raider should, and Michael actually modified these pockets so that my tips of my fingers are actually touching this, a part of the zipper right here. So
Yeah, look at that.
look at that. And I just love that because I always love sticking my hands in the hand warmers. It just makes it more comfortable. The only inaccuracy about this jacket currently is that the hardware are D-rings and not the classic rectangular sliders that a Raiders jacket usually has. But that's something that can be easily fixed. But also, there's a part of me that's not fixing it because this also stands in as my Destiny jacket for the time being.
Sure.
And now, so I'm not wearing my Fedora Raiders as I usually do when I'm rocking around in Raiders gear.
Yeah, but not anymore.
Not anymore. Actually, Blake Bartlett of the Indie Pages now owns the Fedora Raiders, and I'm going to explain why. So this really, really lovely piece I found on Facebook Marketplace. A gentleman was selling this and another hat, and his description was, two vintage hats in need of a good clean. And as I was looking at the pictures, I didn't think of anything of it at first. I saw the color of this and was like, "Oh, that's a nice indie-ish color."
Yeah.
And then I spied a picture of the liner, and I found that it was a Penman Hat Company Raiders, which had been just beaten all to hell.
Smushed.
And I asked him what his price was. $20.
$20.
So I slapped that money toward him faster than I think he could blink.
Yeah.
But I picked it up from him, and then I sent it off to Caleb Noth of the Adventure Den for a reblock, and he brought this hat back to such glorious life. I don't think, and oh my God, I don't think I've ever handled such soft rabbit felt before.
And it's thick. Right?
It's thick rabbit felt, but what I love so much is that, like a Raiders, it's very floppy.
Yes.
It is nice, thick, floppy rabbit felt, and it literally is now the best Raiders hat I've ever owned. And when I compared it to the Fedorators looked inaccurate. It looked too tall. It was way too boxy. The pinch was just like a straight line.
And that, well, for me, I would say that's not even a complaint.
It's not.
It's just simply personal preference. But when you're comparing that apple to this orange, you simply can't go wrong.
So I realized that I had many wonderful years with the Fedorators, that it served me well, and now it was time to go on to somebody else. So Blake, once again, congratulations for owning that Fedorators. May it serve you well as it served me. And now I get to rock around with this wonderful vintage Penman, and that's something else. This Penman is marked 2017 as being built in September of 2017. That particular year means a lot to me because that's when I started to get like buckled down super serious on doing Raiders gear.
Just good indie cosplay.
Good indie cosplay.
In general.
I had my Advantage and I was like, this is really great, but I want more. I want the screen accurate gear. I want to look proper. I don't just want the hat. I want it all. And so for this hat to have been built in that year just feels really full circle,
Yep.
if that makes sense. But
Excellent.
thank you.
Yes.
But that really does it for us here in Mount Baldy. It's very cold.
It's, where did the sun go?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So we are going to finish up doing our shots here, and then we're going to head out. But we want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. You're going to be seeing this guy in a couple more videos.
Yes, so if you're watching this before January 6th of 24, Saturday in Burbank, McCambridge Park, I think it is?
Yes.
The annual Los Angeles Whip Convention is happening, hosted by world record holder Adam Winrich and his wife Dakota. So
There will
if
be-
you're-
Oh, no, please.
Oh, okay. So if you're into whips, if you want to learn how to crack a whip, if you want to see whips and see other people crack it, if you want to be cool, go.
And what's really wonderful is that there are going to be a lot of really special guests there,
Oh,
like
tons.
Nick of Nick's Whip Shop,
Yep, Nick
who's
Schrader.
usually there. He was there last year when we went,
Yes, he was.
and it was just such a pleasure to get to talk to him. Torrance Fisher of Sword Guy Builds should be there. Isaac Eliason of Eliason Whip Company will definitely be in attendance.
You have performers Aaron Bonk and Leah Orleans. This year they have Jacques the Whipper.
Yes, and I'm really
At least I
excited
think he's
about
going to be
that.
there. But
And then there's the big one. There's the big guest,
the big guest.
Anthony DeLongis.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, Anthony DeLongis is a very important figure in the Indiana Jones and just the whip cracking community, as he really perfected and taught all of us how to perfect our own mastery of whip cracking. There's an entire style of whip cracking specifically named after him because of how he just finally understood just the science that goes into it. Because a lot of people think, oh, you just throw your hand forward and it cracks. It's almost an exact science. There's a lot that goes into it, and he came in with years and years of experience working not only with performers, but in film, in television, and just his own sort of inner machinations of like, how can I understand this tool better?
And that's why it's so critical that we're mentioning he trained Harrison Ford when they were revamping him as Indy for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, so
So Harrison learned everything he didn't really need to do with the whip at all
from Anthony.
from Anthony. And
So it's really exciting, the opportunity to meet such a legend in this community.
yeah, because everything I do with the whip is because of him, and it's going to be crazy.
Super crazy.
It's going to be great. But to wrap this and bring it back, we thank you for watching.
Hope you enjoyed. Happy New Year, everybody. Fortune and glory. Stay safe out there.